ICE and U.S. Border Patrol have begun operations in Minnesota and Louisiana this week, focusing on criminal aliens and what the administration calls a national security crisis. What's really happening on the ground? Trump border czar Tom Homan is here with an update, and we'll look back at some memorable moments from the world over Christmases past. The world over begins right now.
Now, Raymond Arroyo.
A warm welcome to all of you joining us in the United States and the world over. An important show for you this week. If you'd like to comment, send me an X post. I'm at Raymond Arroyo, and you can always find me on Arroyo Grande Show on YouTube. This is our second to last show of the year. Can you believe it? And as we're preempted Christmas Day and the week following, we decided to celebrate a little bit later in this show. But first, Tom Homan is overseeing what may be the largest immigration enforcement operation in American history, and the effort has not been without a firestorm of controversy. He's with me now to discuss the deployment of federal agents across the country, most notably Minneapolis and New Orleans. Please welcome President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, back to the program. Tom, thank you for being here. You're currently in the midst of what many are calling the most significant immigration enforcement operation in years, perhaps in history. The ICE raids in Minneapolis, here in New Orleans, that have drawn both praise and condemnation. Tom, walk us through what's happened to these operations and what are the objectives?
Well, there's two objectives. Number one, as President Trump promised from day one, we're going to enforce immigration law. That's what he was voted in office to do, and that's what we're doing. We're going to keep his promise to American people, but he also said from day one, we're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats. So despite what a lot of the media says, the majority of people we arrest are public safety threats. They have a criminal history. So, but also, like I've said from day one, but if you're in the country illegally, you're not off the table. If we find you during these operations, we're going to enforce immigration law. And look, it's the results have been outstanding. I mean, the record year of deportations, I think, was FY12, 2012, was 409,000 removals. Right? We're right around 600,000 right now for less than a year under President Trump. So it's already he's already keeping his promise of historic operation. We're doing that right now, and we're going to do it across the country as we bring on more agents, 110,000 more agents. Hopefully we'll have them all on board by the end of January. And that's tripling the size of the ICE enforcement branch. And so we're going to even see more significant numbers this coming year. We're going to keep President Trump's promise.
One of the bigger stories that doesn't get as much attention, Tom, are the large number of missing children recovered in these operations. According to the administration statistics, 62,000 migrant kids have been rescued from trafficking, forced labor, and God knows what else. 300,000 or more, though, came across the border and were lost in the interior of the U.S. during the last administration. Tom, how many kids do you estimate are still missing? And what are you and ICE and Border Patrol doing to find them?
Well, first of all, if we go back to Biden administration, just about 500,000 children were smuggled into the country, taken out, separated from their families, put in the hands of criminal cartels and smuggled in this country. Many victims to trafficking. So President Trump promised from day one that we're going to find these children, because the last administration, even though 500,000 came across, they lost track of like 300,000. They couldn't find them. They weren't responding to inquiries and their check-ins. So President Trump promised we're going to run down every one of these 300,000 missing kids and locate them and protect them. As of last Friday, I actually announced it on the Fox show on Sunday. The numbers as of Friday were 62,456 that the Trump administration already found. Some of these children were safe and with family. They're just hiding out because they don't want to be deported. But many of these children, and one is too many, we found were either in forced labor or forced sexual slavery. And some of these children are in really, really bad conditions. So we did President Trump did rescue a lot of these children. And he's committed to running down leads on all 300,000. I will say this, about half that 300,000, according to records, have already aged out, meaning they're over 18 already. But we're going to still look for the children priority. But even the ones that aged out over 18, we're still going to try to locate them, because just because you're 18 and 19 doesn't mean you're not forced into labor or forced into prostitution. So we're going to continue looking. And when we run down every lead, we exhaust every lead, Raymond, we're going to do it again. President Trump is not going to give up on these children. We're going to do everything we can to the last day of this administration to find these kids. And personally, I'll do everything I can until I take my last breath on this earth to find these kids.
Well, Tom, you know, there's no reportage on this. This part of the story gets almost no coverage at all. And we're going to talk about this idea of human dignity later, but I can't think of a worse indignity than being in forced slave labor, sexual slave labor, or just being used by these cartels and criminal outfits across the country. And you and I know they have long tentacles. It's not just in the border towns. It's all the way north in this country. But we're hearing reports of significant arrests in the Somalian community in Minnesota, with allegations of welfare fraud, immigration violations, other criminal activity. Can you speak to what your investigations have uncovered there? And is there a pattern of systemic corruption?
There's a lot of corruption. I'll say this, that President Trump is committed on these Twin Cities. Look at folks that came in through a vetting process we don't think was appropriate, especially during the last 4 years of Joe Biden. So not only are we looking at it from a criminal perspective, and we're looking at it from an illegal immigration perspective, we're actually looking at those who are here on some sort of documentation. We want to go over every one of those files and make sure the vetting was done properly, because I simply I've said this, you know, for 4 years during the Biden administration, that I know for a fact they weren't vetting people properly, especially from countries like Somalia, where record keeping is very bad, if it even exists. They don't have databases. They don't have an NCIC like we have, right? So in a lot of these countries, they don't have the databases to really give us criminal data, national security data. And a lot of these countries, even if they did, they're not going to share it with us. So President Trump's making the right call, especially after the shooting here, the Afghan national that came across during Joe Biden. We're going to run down the vetting on all these populations and make sure that they're not a public safety threat and not a national security threat. And if we can't properly vet them, and they are a national security threat, we'll set them up for deportation. The President Trump, again, is committed to make this country safe again. And it starts with fixing all the injustices of the Biden administration, which includes bringing millions of people into the country, many that weren't properly vetted.
Yeah. Mr. Homan, you are a practicing Catholic. It's no secret the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops have condemned these enforcement operations across the country. Bishop Seitz of El Paso, who heads the Bishops' Migration and Refugee Committee, he called them incompatible with Catholic teaching on human dignity. The Pope himself has criticized what he calls fortress mentality immigration policies. As a Catholic, Tom, enforcing these laws, how do you reconcile those comments with your faith and your duties?
Well, I can tell you that's in line with my catechism, my parochial school learnings, that adherence to the law was very important within the Catholic faith, and I think it still is. You know, and I'm willing to sit down with anybody from the Catholic Church and talk about it. You know, when they talk about these laws shouldn't be enforced, well, they need to understand, if we don't enforce the laws, what message does that send to the world? That sends to the world, like the Biden administration did. Cross the border, it's illegal, but don't worry about it. See a judge or don't see a judge, get order removed, don't worry about no one's looking for you. What happened during that 4 years? 4 years, a record number of Americans died from fentanyl because that border's wide open. The border patrol was overwhelmed. 70% of agents weren't working. So hundreds of thousands of Americans died from a drug that came across the open border. What else happened? A historic increase in sex trafficking in women and children because enforcement was removed from that border. What else happened? You know, beyond the overdose, 250,000 Americans died. Beyond the sex trafficking in women and children, record number of people in terrorist-related countries came across. What else happened? Over 4,000 aliens died making that journey. Because we sent a message that there's no consequences here, we're not enforcing our law. I would ask the Catholic leadership, go talk to the hundreds of angels and moms and dads that I have that buried their children because their children were killed by someone that's supposed to be here. If the message they want to send is ICE shouldn't enforce immigration law, you're never going to fix this problem. Vulnerable people from around the globe are going to give every penny they have, their life savings, to criminal cartels to make that dangerous journey. Do I think the immigration system needs to be fixed? Absolutely. But ignoring the law only puts people in jeopardy. And let me tell you something. Now that we have the most secure border in our lifetime, illegal immigration on 96%. And Raymond, you've seen these studies. Studies have shown about 31% of women that make that journey get sexually assaulted. When 96% less people are coming, how many women aren't being raped? How many children aren't dying making that journey? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked? How many drugs aren't coming across the border to kill Americans? How many known suspected terrorists aren't crossing the border? Enforcing the law saves lives. Even the border wall, which the Pope has, attacked, even though he got a wall around the Vatican, even the border wall they attack. Here's what they need to understand. Border wall saves lives. The most vulnerable, the women and children, can't get over that wall, which means they're going to a place where there's not a wall. And what's waiting on the men and women of the Border Patrol is going to take care of the humanitarian needs. Not as the border wall not only that has it increased our national security profile, it saves lives. With 96% less people putting themselves in harm's way, President Trump is saving thousands of lives. That's what the Catholic leadership needs to understand. I want to sit down with anybody.
Have the bishops reached out to you?
Absolutely not. No.
That's amazing.
But
to
I would
me.
love to.
It's
I would love
amazing
to sit down with them. Come sit down with me. I mean, I think as the leaders of my faith, I deserve that. You come talk to me, and let's work together at this. But we're saving lives, and if you cross the wall of the Vatican, Raymond, and get arrested, the penalty for that is much more than crossing our border.
You bet. No, they fine you and jail you if you cross that border. I've always said I'm going to bring a camera with me and try to get in just to see what happens.
Raymond, let me add one thing. Let me add one thing I forgot. You know why we had the most secure border in history of this nation? The leadership, President Trump, the men and women of the Border Patrol doing a great job. But another reason that border is secure and less people are making that dangerous journey and less people are dying is because of what ICE is doing right now in the interior that the Catholic Church wants to attack. Because we're sending a message to the whole world, there are consequences for violating our laws. Because they see these operations going on, people aren't putting themselves in harm's way. People aren't giving up their life savings to come to the country to get arrested. The ICE actions alone has saved thousands of lives.
Tom, I want to get your reaction to this. In Dedham, Massachusetts, a Catholic parish put up this nativity scene, this one, and it depicts the Holy Family, Mary, Jesus, and Joseph, missing. They've been edited from the scene, replaced by a sign that says, ICE was here. The sign also requests that people call an immigrant advocacy group if they see ICE officers in the neighborhood. Now, the Archdiocese of Boston ordered the parish and the pastor to put the Holy Family back and stop the politicking. They refused to do so. Your thoughts, Tom, on this display at Christmas time, and does this contribute to the rhetoric and the spirit of hostility toward your ICE agents?
Of course it does, and I find it. I'm shocked. I didn't know that. Do they understand that ICE is prioritizing public safety threats, and this continual hateful rhetoric means more people are going to show up? They can protest, and they got their First Amendment rights. Protest all you want. It's unfortunate. I think they protest. They don't even know what they're protesting, and they're protesting based on misinformation in the media and from some Democratic people on the Hill. But this rhetoric, I said it from day one. I said it back in March. If the hateful rhetoric doesn't decline, there's going to be bloodshed. And unfortunately, I was right. People have died because of this rhetoric. Threats against ICE officers up 1,800%. So the Catholic Church was supposed to be about love and humanity, and do they understand this isn't about peace? This is about putting a target on the back of the men and women who are serving this nation. And and I know Border Patrol, over half of them are Hispanics, ICE, a large Hispanic contingency within the ICE ranks. A lot of practicing Catholics. It's unfortunate the Catholic Church wants to target their own parishioners just because they choose to enforce the laws enacted by Congress and make their community safe again. I find it despicable. Where is this again?
Yeah. Well, it's in Dedham, Massachusetts, a suburb of Boston. I'll send you the article.
I'll go pay him. I'll go up and pay him a visit.
Here's the tension that I think many Catholics struggle with, Tom. And this is what you get when you read closely, when you talk to people on both sides of this. We have a nation of laws, but we also have a faith that calls us to radical mercy and hospitality. And the Catechism speaks about nations having the right to regulate immigration, but it also demands that you treat migrants with dignity. Now, the Pope has suggested that the Trump administration, and I guess by extension you, are engaged in, quote, inhuman treatment of migrants. Tom, your reaction to that line, is that what you're engaged in?
No, absolutely not. And, I spent 40 years saving lives. Like I said, by securing this border, we're saving thousands of lives. I've rescued children and smuggled aliens from cartels who would torture them if they couldn't pay their fees. And I'm talking about not only myself, the men and women of the Border Patrol and ICE have saved thousands of lives, putting a lot of bad people in jail. Inhumane treatment in what sense? If you want to talk about inhumane treatment, let's talk to the criminal cartels who treat these people like life doesn't matter. I've seen this. I've seen the darkest of the dark. I stood in the back with tractor trailer and 19 people that baked to death. I've run investigations where if an alien couldn't pay his fees, they torture him, call up the relatives who couldn't afford the fees and torture the relatives and let the other people listen on the phone until they paid the fees. No, we're saving lives. And as far as the detention, I hear this, attacking our detention facilities. We have the highest detention standards in the industry. Our detention standards are higher than any federal, state, or local jail. Compare them. Go to ice.gov and look at the detention standards. And a lot of taxpayers be upset that we're spending this much money in detention standards. And also we make sure in our facilities, Raymond, that the clergy is able to go to these facilities and meet with these people. So I find that disturbing. It's an insult. And, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. I can go to bed every night, rest my head on that pillow, knowing that we are saving lives. And just by the fact we're securing the border and enforcing immigration law, we're saving thousands of lives. Again, if you're upset with what we do, go protest Congress. But ICE is doing what Congress intended, and we're saving lives.
The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops and many others are claiming, and this is what the bishops say, the quote is, indiscriminate deportations with no regard for due process. Even the Pope said that people have lived here for 10 or 15 years, that they should be treated with dignity. We treat
everybody with dignity.
How do you prioritize these deportations?
If you're in the country illegally, I've said day one, you're not off the table. Let's remember these people that say, well, they're just here illegally. Do you understand during the last administration when millions of people came across the border, and even before that in the last 2 decades, when you come across the border illegally, not only is it a crime, but you're cheating the system. There are millions of people, millions, that are standing in line, taking their tests, doing a background investigation, paying their fees to be part of the greatest nation on earth. They're getting cheated every day because millions of people cheated the system, put themselves in front of the line, and now the people are doing it the legitimate way, sitting in the back of the bus. Not only that, a majority of people in the Biden administration were making a false claim to asylum. Like I said, 90% lose your case. They simply don't qualify for asylum. While they're clogging up the courts for years, or close to a decade, there are thousands of people in this world that really are escaping fear and persecution because of race, religion, political affiliation. They're sitting in the back of the bus because millions of people cheated, made a fraudulent asylum claim. They know they don't qualify for asylum. And how do I know that? Because as soon as President Trump put the Remain in Mexico program in and says, okay, you can claim asylum, but you're going to wait in Mexico, they stop coming. So if they're really escaping fear and persecution, they would continue to come and wait in Mexico, but they're not. So inhumane treatment, it's just a bunch of crap. The most humane thing you can do is enforce the law, secure the border, because it saves lives. And, Border Patrol saves thousands of lives every year on that border. The men and women of ICE, again, prioritizing public safety threats. Look at the amount of homicides that were committed by the TDA and MS-13 just in the past year. Making the community safe again, the Catholic Church should support keeping the community safe again. But I'm saying this, if you're in the country legally, it's not okay. Illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. I wish these Catholic leadership will go with me. Take a border trip with me. Look at some of the investigations I do. Wear my shoes. Come right along with me and see what I see, and you'd understand me. You may not agree with me 100% in the end, but you certainly understand the importance of border security. So I invite them, come with me. Hang out with me for a couple of days and let me show you why illegal immigration is not a victimless crime.
Tom, before I let you go, I want you to talk for a moment about the personal toll this has taken on you, many of your colleagues as well. I've talked to them. I've interviewed them. You've mentioned death threats against you and your family. You're even living separately from your wife because of security concerns. At what point does the demonization of law enforcement officials cross a line? And what responsibility do political leaders have to cool this rhetoric?
Well, they've already crossed the line. Death threats against ICE is up 1,800%. Look, the toll is taken on me. It's taken on me over 40 years. I just told you. I can explain some of the investigations I'm involved with. It changed me forever. Matter of fact, one incident with 19 dead people in the back of a tractor trailer, after that investigation was over, we put 14 people in prison. I had to go get help. I mean, that's just, it messed me up. But look, every agent out there, it takes a toll on them to be compared to Nazis and racists. Some of the terrible things they see every day, like the Border Patrol agents in the last 4 years are giving CPR to infants, pulling babies out of the river, talking to girls as young as 9 that were raped by members of the cartel. This is all hangs them. They're going to live with this rest of their lives. But it's just not those who carry the badge and gun. It's your family too. Like you just said, I was away from my wife for months. Yep. And every Border Patrol agent, every ICE agent, their spouse sacrifices too, along with their children. The horse patrol that was attacked by the Biden administration a couple of years ago, their wives and children were bullied in schools and churches. The hate about how their spouse was a racist. So these men and women, they get attacked a lot. It takes a deep toll on them. But you know what? They get up in the morning, they go back to work because they know in their heart, based on what they know, what they see every day, they're doing the right thing. They're saving lives, and they believe in the mission. So they're going to keep sacrificing. You know, I'm proud of each and every one of them. And I promise them, I have their six until the day I die. Even when I leave the administration, I'll always support the men and women of the Border Patrol ICE because I was a Border Patrol agent. I was an ICE agent. I've lived the world, and I've seen the terrible things that they see every day.
Tom Homan, a Merry Christmas to you. We'll leave it there, and we're going to come with you on one of these missions. I think it's important for people to see what's actually happening on the ground and the danger of these agents. I've seen it up close. I've been with ICE. I've been with Border Patrol at the Rio Grande. This is not an easy task or an easy duty these men and women have. And they're dealing with things far beyond just, patrolling an area of ground. They're humanitarian relief. They're doing nursing services. I mean, people don't fully comprehend. I want them to see that. So we'll do that soon.
Well, let me tell you something. Now you just mentioned that. I can't tell you how many Border Patrol agents I have witnessed. And I did it myself when I was an agent. That gave up their lunch. They took their lunch box and gave to illegal alien that they arrested because they find out he hasn't eaten in 2 days. They bring toys from their own kids to some of these facilities so they have something to play with. These men and women of ICE and Border Patrol, I want people to remember, they're mothers and fathers too. They're sons and daughters too. They don't hang their heart on a hook. They go to work. These people care. They care about life. They care about safety. And look, like me, I love kids. So, that's why I get so emotional when we talk about kids, and that's why we're going to find every one of these missing kids, because they deserve better. What happened to them at the hands of adults, it's just atrocious, and we're going to try to address it, every one of these kids. We will not stop until we run down every lead 2 or 3 times, guaranteed.
Well, Tom, I said it on my podcast a few weeks ago. We often talk about the human dignity of the aliens and the migrants coming into the country. We omit and forget about the human dignity of those agents who are out in the field every day, and people like you. Thank you for your service.
Okay, thank you.
Over on the Arroyo Grande podcast, I sat down with NYU professor of medicine and Fox contributor Dr. Mark Siegel to talk about his new book, The Miracles Among Us, and the inspiring and surprising ways faith and science intersect to promote healing, with often miraculous results. You've been a physician for over 30 years at NYU Langone. In all that time, have you witnessed moments that simply can't be explained by science alone?
When I was an intern, I was working one rotation in the ICU. There was one guy that was in there for 3 months, didn't move. He was in a locked-in state, in a vegetative state. The family was at his bedside, nonstop, day and night praying. And every now and then they would come out of the cubicle and say, look, his heart rate's up a little. Look, his blood pressure's going up. Look, did you see he twitched his eye? he's breathing a little faster. And every time we kind of looked sideways at each other and had kind of a, oh, here we go again. And I felt that that was going to be my future. A certain amount of sardonic response or jadedness or, you know, even downright like not mocking people, but feeling like, here we go again.
Right.
But you know what? After 3 months, he woke up and walked out of the hospital and went back to work to the same restaurant he had worked in before. That ended up being my lesson. Not
Wow.
giving up, holding out hope. Prayers work. Don't dismiss a family. Don't dismiss a patient.
The full Arroyo Grande interview with Dr. Mark Siegel is on YouTube at Arroyo Grande Show, or wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and you can subscribe to all of it, whether it's a podcast or the YouTube show, and never miss an Arroyo Grande Show episode. Just type in Arroyo Grande Show and go subscribe. It's free. And of course, be on the lookout for Friday's installment of The Prayerful Posse. We'll talk about the attacks on the sacred this Christmas season and a rather kinky Vatican official. Join me for another can't-miss episode. Go to Arroyo Grande Show, wherever you get your podcasts. And it's our second to last show of 2025. To get you in the mood for next week's World Over Christmas show, I wanted to bring you some highlights of World Over Christmases past.
Come, they told me, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. A newborn king to see, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. Our finest gifts we bring, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. To lay before the king, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, ra-ba-bum-bum, ra-ba-bum-bum. So to honor him, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, when we come, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. I am a poor boy too, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. I have no gift to bring, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, that's fit to give a king, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, ra-ba-bum-bum, ra-ba-bum-bum. Shall I play for him, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, on my drum? Ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. The ox and lamb kept time, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. I played my drum for him, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. I played my best for him, ba-ra-ba-bum-bum, ra-ba-bum-bum, ra-ba-bum-bum. Then he smiled at me, Ba-ra-ba-bum-bum. Me and my drum. Me and my drum. Me and my drum.
Here's a tune you might remember from years gone by. It was written by Bob Wells and Mel Torme in the dead of the summer, but it's now part of the Christmas canon. Aaron Neville and you know who with the Christmas song.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at the nose.
Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos.
Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright.
Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh.
And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92.
Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
Wow. All we need is a couple of little dancing elves and we'd be fine here.
And so I'm offering this simple phrase
to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas
To you.
Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Oye Ramón, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. 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 I want to wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart.
There is an artist who's a longtime friend of this program, the Celtic fiddling sensation Natalie McMaster. This Cape Breton native is something else with a fiddle. Here's a medley of Away in a Manger and Christmas in Killarney by Natalie McMaster. There are so many who, because of work or military service or illness, just can't be home for Christmas this year. We particularly remember our servicemen and women protecting our freedoms around the world. No matter where they are with us in spirit, but we wish they were with us here at home. Here again is Aaron Neville capturing that sentiment New Orleans style with a Charles Brown classic.
Bells would be ringing, the glad, glad news. Oh, what a Christmas to have the blues. My baby's gone, I have no friend to wish me greeting. Ooh, once again, choirs will be singing silent night, Christmas carols by candlelight. celebration. Sure as a star shine above. This is Christmas. Yes, Christmas, my dear. The time of year to be with the one you love. Oh, won't you tell me you'll never go wrong? Christmas and New Year will find you home. There'll be no more sorrow, no grief and pain. 'Cause I'll be happy, happy, once again. No more sorrow, no grief and pain. 'Cause I'll be happy Christmas once again. Once again.
That song always makes me homesick. And speaking of home, this next number comes from a special I produced for PBS and Verve. It's called Christmas Time in New Orleans, featuring the NOLA Players. We assembled some of the Crescent City's best working musicians and brought them together at the Sanger Theater to play original arrangements of Christmas favorites. Here they are, the NOLA Players with Christmas Time in New Orleans. Now, I know there are a lot of New Orleanians in this special, forgive my bias, but what can I say? These next performers are part of the first family of jazz in my hometown of New Orleans. They are the first family to be designated Jazz Masters by the National Endowment of the Arts. Offering their rendition of Hark the Herald Angels Sing is Grammy-nominated trombonist Delphio Marsalis, Jason Marsalis on the drums, and their father, the renowned jazz pianist Ellis Marsalis. Watch this. when I was growing up in New Orleans, my friends and I would gather around the piano at Christmas, we still do it sometimes, and sing our favorite songs. There is one particular song, rarely performed, that I've always loved. It's called I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. It's based on a Longfellow poem and was set to music by Johnny Marks. Now, you probably know him best for writing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. While in New York, one of my old friends, the composer Michael Paternostro, agreed to rekindle some memories at the piano. So here's our rendition of I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day.
I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the song repeats of peace on earth, goodwill to men. I thought as now this day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rung so long the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong will fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men.
I've always loved classic Christmas carols, the old hymns. But one thing I've never really liked is how choirs have flattened them over the years. You know, a chorus will sing them, and we lose the lyrics, we lose the passion, we lose the dynamism. We just barely get the melody and maybe the first words. Well, when I was recording Christmas Merry and Bright, I thought Hark the Herald Angels Sing needs a new reframing, if you will. So we rearranged it. Kevin Koska, the great arranger of The Lion King and Jungle Book, The Greatest Showman, he redid this, complete with flying angels in the orchestration, which I think you'll hear. This is from my Christmas Merry and Bright performance at the House of Blues in Dallas, Texas. Watch.
Christ by highest heaven adored, Christ the everlasting Lord, late in time, behold him come, offspring of a virgin's womb, veiled in flesh, the Godhead see, hail the incarnate deity, pleased with us in flesh to dwell, Jesus our Emmanuel. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Get him, Michael. I hope the angels sound like that. Of peace, hail the Son of Righteousness. Light and life to all he brings. Risen with healing in his wings. Mild he lays his glory by. Born that man no more may die. Born to raise the sons of earth. Born to give them second birth. Hark, the herald angels sing. Glory to the newborn King.
If you need a few stocking stuffers this season, get your copy of my Christmas album, Christmas, Merry and Bright. You can find it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple Music, Spotify, and of course, the EWTN catalog, or wherever you get your music. We'll feature a behind-the-scenes look at the recording of Christmas, Merry and Bright on next week's show, so do tune in. That is all the time we have for now. Be sure to catch us next week for the World Over Christmas special featuring the NOLA Players, of course, Keely Smith, Johnny Mathis, and so many others. Until then, we'll be scouting the world over for all that is seen and unseen. On behalf of the staff and crew of EWTN News, thank you for watching. I'm Raymond Arroyo, merrily. Bye now.